Good morning, and let's talk about solving linear equations. There are basically 4 steps that will solve any linear equation. You don't necessarily always need all of them. First of all, you have to know what would make up a linear equation. With a linear equation, you're not going to have any exponents. Or variables in radicals or denominators. So a linear equation is going to basically be something where the only thing you'll have available, you've got the addition rule, which states that you can add or subtract the same thing on both sides. And then you've got the multiplication rule, that says you can multiply or divide as long as you do the same on both sides. And of course, you cannot divide by 0 and you cannot multiply by 0. So the 4 steps that are always going to take care of this. First of all, you want to remove parentheses. Now this covers any kind of grouping symbols. And you always want to take care of this first. Even if some books say do fractions first, that's not the best way to do it. You want to make sure you do your parentheses first. And then you clear fractions. Now, since we don't have any exponents, parentheses are generally going to involve distribution. Clearing fractions, you want to multiply by the common denominator. These 2 steps will change the problem to just a bunch of terms on one side or the other. So you want to group your like terms by getting your variables on one side and get your constants on the other, all the terms that don't have a variable. Now, I haven't put in here anything about combining like terms, because at any point that you find you have like terms that are on the same side, that are not one in parentheses and one not or anything, you always want to keep combining your like terms so that you'll have as few terms as possible. Once you group all of your like terms on one side, that's going to leave you something x equals something. So at that point, your last step is to divide by the coefficient, whatever your variable is multiplied by. And that's just going to leave you with x equals some number. For instance, suppose we had a problem like this. Well, the first thing we want to do is get rid of parentheses. So we're going to take care of this part. Don't have any parentheses on the other side. So when we distribute this, this is going to give us a minus 10x and a positive 35. Here we've got two like terms that are on the same side, so that's a minus 7x plus 35 equals 8x plus 12. So I want to get my 8x and 7x on the same side. Doesn't actually matter which side. Just make sure that you don't add terms together that are not on the same side of the equation. So I can move the 8x to the other side by subtracting it. I can move the 35 to the other side by subtracting, and I'm subtracting because they're both currently positive. You do whatever the opposite sign is. So that will cancel out. That will cancel out. Leaves me a minus 5x on this side, a negative 23 on this side. Divide by the coefficient. Make sure you reduce your fraction if you have one. So this is just going to be x equals 23 over 15. Negative over negative is positive. If you have fractions, 1/2 x plus 3/5 equals 4/5 x minus, 7/2. We don't have any parentheses. Clear your fractions by multiplying by the least common denominator. We've got 5s, we've got 2s, least common denominator is 10. If I multiply, I'm going to recopy this and I'm going to spread it out a little bit. If I multiply both sides of this by 10, then because I've got two terms here, I have to distribute the 10. And I've got two terms here, so I have to distribute this 10. The reason I want to do this, and this x is not in the denominator. Let me draw that so it's a little more clear. This is a 1/2 times x. So 10 times 1/2 is 5. That's 10/2. 10/5 is 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 times x is 8x minus 2 goes into 10 5 times. 7 times 5 is 35. I've gotten rid of my parentheses because I didn't have any. I've gotten rid of my fractions. So I can move my x's to the same side. I can move my 6 and my 35 to the same side. Make sure that this side and this side exactly match. Make sure these are opposites. These are opposites. So minus 3x equals minus 41. Division by negative 3 gives me x equals a positive 41/3. And that's all you have to do to solve linear equations. Get rid of your parentheses, get rid of your fractions, sort your terms so that all of your variable terms are on one side, all your non-variable terms are on the other, and then divide by the coefficient of your variable. That'll get you down to just x equals whatever. It'll work every time.